And we're on. Hey peeps, this is Marci Locke, and we are locking down the truth on Marci Locke TV today. And as you can see, I'm actually like hanging out with my guest, and I got some hair going on too. His wife is this beautiful goddess with long hair, so I said, it's okay, Chris, that my hair takes up half the screen. You're used to it. So if you guys have not joined us on Marci Locke TV, it's really about living an awesome, epic life. It's about having every aspect of your life firing, being in full cylinders, being fully aligned in your truth as the God or the goddess that you are designed to be. Limitless possibility and capacity. So if you have not tuned in before, you can actually go to marcilockeapp.com or on iTunes or Google Play and download my app and get all the past TV and radio shows, as well as free recipes, workouts, mind-body breakthrough videos, tips, etc. You can see the kick-ass videos Chris and I have been doing the last couple days hanging out together as well. So download those. You can go to mindbody90.com to get access to my free video series to literally liberate you from the lies that are holding you back and find the truth that sets you free. So now that you got that out of the way and you know how to continue to follow all this greatness that goes on, let me just give you guys a little bit of a taste of the awesomeness that I have sitting right here. So even right before we started this show, Chris and I got to sit and meditate together and visualize and see what is our true intention and what is our purpose of being here. And his words were the hollow vessels that just allow everything to flow through us, the message to inspire. Through this TV show, our intention is for you to feel peace, for you to be inspired to the action you get to take, for you to realize the truth of who you are and be inspired to take that action to create such a different life. And so this is Christopher John Stubbs, officially. He is known as the breakthrough alchemist. Just take that in. Just take it in. Because the breakthrough alchemist, there's a reason why he is known as the breakthrough alchemist. And as you hear a little bit about his story and the nuggets that he teaches, you're just like blown away. Even yesterday getting to be in the car, we're actually in, I don't even know where we are, Mesa, Arizona? We're headed to Havasupai, Arizona. But we were in California, we were doing the drive yesterday, and just even hearing some of Chris's story that I didn't know, I was just like, man, holy cow, that was like such deep shit. You were in the shitter. And it's to say that you can go from there to who he is now, that just, he inspires me. And he's been one of my business coaches and my mentors and has assisted me in shifting, up-leveling huge in my life. So the thing I want you to hear is that Chris has this ability to literally have this laser focus to zone in on where are those blocks and those gaps in your life to create massive breakthrough, to catapult you to those levels. And it's not just, he's like a genius in all these realms. So it's not just, I mean, he's done everything from intense relationship breakthrough to intense sales and marketing breakthrough to intense even parenting breakthrough to finances to, I mean, all realms. And so his gift is to help people up level in all aspects of life, which is a huge passion for me now, is to see that if we were just to say, oh, great, I'll have great relationships, but everything else sucks, I believe that's like giving God the finger. It's like saying I'm not allowing me to operate at full capacity and live in the abundance of who I am. So this guy is the genius for that. And he took me, and I can say, I have never, ever experienced a coach like Chris. I have never experienced someone take me to such deep, raw emotional shifts and then to feel such love and support. Like, Chris was the one I called when I was in my deepest shit. He cried with me, and he up-leveled me through these perceptions that just allowed me to go gangbuster to the next level of my life, and then gangbuster to the next level of my life to, you know, be at over a six-figure income every single month compared to where I was at, where I was like having a lot of blocks and barriers. So I can't say enough about him, but I definitely want to give this opportunity to let you guys learn as much as possible and just take in the brilliance of him. So first off, Chris, before we start though, where is the best place for people to connect with you, to find out more about you before we really get in, so they definitely have a way to be aware?
So definitely friend me on Facebook. This is where I'm mostly active and alive, where you see most of my activity. I'm on Facebook all the time, multiple times a day, pretty much all day, every day, engaging, supporting, teaching, giving out free content, just sharing my learnings and my experiences, my up-levelings, my breakthroughs, and the lessons I've received along the way. Also, you can go to ChristopherJohnStubbs.com.
Okay, awesome. So as we kind of dive in today's topic is really just massive breakthrough. And so I just felt honored. It worked out so perfectly that I'm going to be Chris's, one of my has, like I said, has been one of my greatest breakthrough coaches, but is one of my best friends and brothers that his wife, a bunch of friends were going to pop a soup by. And so I thought, how cool is this that we could actually do this experience together? So I'm just going to turn it over to you, Chris, to kind of give everyone that story of, or the idea of who you really are.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're so welcome. This is cool. I'm like, I'm just going to watch you in here, and then I'll watch you right here. Go.
So first, let me set a little context. The difference between a coach and a therapist. Like, many people often think that a coach and a therapist are the same thing, and I want you to get, really, if you don't already get it, there's a difference between coaching and therapy. So therapy typically is like, let's find your problems and let's figure out all your childhood traumas and your past traumas, and let's find a way to diagnose those and treat those. And coaching for me isn't about that. In the beginning, it was about that for me because my life was a mess. And I'm going to tell you some stories, give you some examples, illustrations, and some models you can work with. It will be very empowering for you. But really, the conversation we're having here today isn't about digging up your childhood and excavating out your issues and figuring out what's wrong with you and what's broken and how we're going to fix that, because there's nothing wrong with you.
Love that.
There's nothing broken about you. There never has been. The truth is, you are whole and complete as you are today, and there's nothing that's stopping you from fully embodying that except this right here. So coaching and the approach that we take as coaches, the approach I take as a coach is, how can we improve and up-level to the next level, the next level, the next level? So as I share my story and where I've come from and where I've been able to go to, I don't want you to mix this up with and get too caught up in, oh, that was so hard, and oh, poor him, or poor me, or poor anybody, because there are no victims in life. And the whole game that I'm talking about isn't about healing that stuff. It's about reaching to the greatness of who we are, and then in the process healing that stuff. You see, what you focus on expands. And so many people think, oh, I'm just not quite worthy, I'm just not good enough. Maybe if I got another breakthrough or attended another workshop or something, somehow, if something happened, then maybe I'll be worthy, maybe I'll be good enough. And I'm telling you, you are more than enough as you are. You always have been and you always will be. I don't give a shit what you've done. We've all done stupid shit. And I'm pretty sure the stupid shit list, mine is deeper and wider and longer and stupider than your shit is, because I've been a dumbass. So, and that's all good, and even that's like judgmental in the terminology. If I were to make that more conscious, it'd be like, I've made a lot of awesome mistakes / failures that were failing forward. It was opportunity for growth, for learning, for expansion. So please stop holding yourself hostage to those things. Please forgive yourself and release the past. Forgive everyone in your life, so that you can claim the true power of who you are and move forward into becoming the greatest version of who you could possibly be.
Oh, yes.
There's a few reasons why we're here on this planet. And for me, they can be summarized pretty simply. It's like, answer the call for love wherever you hear it. Take that in. Answer the call for love wherever you hear it. And let me take this to a money conversation for a minute, because so many of us have been taught that money is like this non-spiritual item, that it has it's this temporal, and if we're focused on money, like maybe we're evil or greedy, or there's so many stories about it. But what I want you to try on and consider is that us as creators, like, I go scriptural on you for a minute. It said, there was a scripture somewhere, I don't even know where because I'm not really a scriptorian, but it something somewhere said, like begets like. And I don't care who your creator is or what you call it, whether it's universe or God or creator or source or whatever it is for you. That energy is creative. It's creator, creative. It's that positive, constructive life force energy that flows and creates all that is. And whatever that force is, created us. And if like begets like, we are creators because the creator created us.
Yes.
This is a given. So the question is, how powerful of a creator can we be? How much can we expand into the greatest version of who we've ever been, which leads me to the second piece of our purpose of life. So first one, answer the call for love wherever we hear it. Now, before I go into the second piece of why we're here, I want to finish the money topic. Part of being a creator, part of reaching our full spiritual potential as a human being in a body, is to become that creator in the greatest possible, like what is my greatest capacity in all areas of my life, my business, my relationships, my health, my spirituality, my mentality, my emotional body and beingness, everything. So expanding in my financial realm is part of my spiritual experience.
Yes, it is.
Expanding in my relationships is expanding in everything. So just expanding my capacity. So when someone's calling out to me saying, I'm tired of being broke. I'm tired of wondering if I'm going to survive or not. It's not a small issue. Like, this person is occupying most of their resources, their mental and emotional resources, consumed with the thoughts of survival. Mm-hmm. Instead of how can I contribute to the world, it's how can I survive? And if we can't get past this and learn some simple skills that are available to all of us, we are meant to thrive. We are meant to have it all. But we've been taught and conditioned to believe that, like so many things that hold us captive and hold us down. And this financial realm is such an important piece, because when you get the skill sets and the mindsets you need, you let go of all these limiting stories and beliefs and thoughts and fears and doubts and insecurities and fear of failure and fear of success and all the things that go on in our mind, and we actually allow ourselves to embrace prosperity. Now all of our needs are met and all of our family's needs are met, and there's no longer this thought of survival. It's about, I have more than enough. Now what can I contribute? How can I make a difference in the world and in people's lives, and how many people's lives, and how much of a difference can I make, and how much can I be the change that I wish to see? Just paying the bills doesn't cut it.
I can say, like, from my own experience of bypassing that, I mean, you know, when you first interacted with me, I was like, can I go from feast to famine, which a lot of coaches experience, and just that old struggle growing up on a farm. We had to buy our own food to survive. It's so conditioned in us to think that there's lack and there's not enough, or only so many can have it. And to go to that space of like, oh, 50 grand a month to over 100 grand a month to like, wow, it's like the more free I am to just expand and give, and it's like catapult you into such a higher realm. It's so interesting how, but yet in that lack mindset, when you think that when you're fighting money, you're literally fighting creation, like you said, instead of just being at peace with it. So that was a huge part of you becoming a breakthrough alchemist. I love your statement. You say, we're here to teach what we came to learn, and your mess becomes your message. And you you were this breakthrough coach in so many aspects, relationships and parenting and love and just all these different aspects, but you stayed broke for a while. Yeah. And you had to, so explain some of your story of what you went through to break through that, to where that is such a huge part of where you break people through now, is the finances, the marketing, the sales, the becoming so at peace with money to just expand. Awesome.
So a couple pieces. I want to finish my second piece on the second purpose of why we're here, and that is the first time I read this, and it was written this way, and you can say it many ways, it was, your purpose in life is to recreate yourself anew into the next greatest version of the grandest vision you've ever held about who you are. Wow. So to say it like in every moment in simple terms, that's just like, we're here to expand every moment into the next greatest version that I can imagine that I could possibly be. Take a quick drink here.
Always taking that in. So it's like literally like if your entire core concept is I'm here just expand and grow, you're always just getting greater and greater and greater. And that's why using these tools, my life just continues to expand to greater. And this morning we did a video after our workout, and we were talking about where he was here a year ago and how much his life has shifted. And I'm like, using these tools, my life shifts so quickly, so fast, and it just blows your mind. But that's because you're like encompassing your life is, my life is growth and expansion. It's not a, oh, I need, and you were talking about this earlier today, which I love, is that I need something outside of me to then be good enough. It's like, no, and how did he start this? You already are perfect, whole, and complete. You are already complete in every way. There is nothing lacking. It's just simply feedback. The world that you're experiencing is feedback to say, do I want more of this shit, or do I want something different? If I do, then I get to expand. But if you just take it in and say, there is no judgment, there is no good, bad, wrong, right, this or that, it's just expansion every day till life gets greater, happier, healthier, more amazing, more fucking awesome, right? I mean, go, brother, go.
So as I share my story in a minute, you're going to like get a taste of how all this goes down. You're going to see, like, I'm going to teach you about this concept called upper limits and how we get this thermostat setting of how good we can stand life and what we do to sabotage it, bring ourselves back down to a more familiar place that's not as expansive as we could be, and just stay in this up-down roller coaster that's just repeat up and then down and then up and then down. And what we want to do is start this pattern. My company's name is Vertical Ascension, which is all about, yeah, we're going to have our ups and downs, but what if we could catch those downs quicker and shift back up and course correct so that we're constantly climbing. So when we stop the game of like how we're right, trying to prove and justify our position, and playing the game of who's right, who's wrong, and who's the biggest victim, we can switch to a game of what can I learn from this and how can I utilize it to expand me into the next greatest version of myself and propel me forward into fulfilling and accomplishing my mission and my purpose as a human being on this planet right here, right now. So take a breath. Allow all that to sink in for just a second. Feel your nervous system. Feel everything you feel. Tune into your body. Bring yourself present right here, right now. So many of us get so caught up in whatever's going on that we lose track. You might be looping out and so caught up into us right now, you're losing track of you. Or so caught up in you and your inner story that you're losing track of us. So to be right here, right now, we want to stop and just scan your body. Take a breath. Notice what sensations you notice. You can't actually notice the sensations in your body unless you're right here, right now. And there's only power right here, right now. So I just want to take a moment to get you back present wherever you've been, because there's this cycle of drifting and shifting that we do. The average person only stays present for about 15 seconds before they drift. So I want to just give you an opportunity to bring yourself back fully present in this moment so you can get the optimal amount of value from this call. Okay, so as I go into this, I want to share like a story of how the hell did I become the breakthrough alchemist? How did I get here? So go back. Let's start like midlife. Midlife. It's like I'm not even midlife yet, but
when you feel 20.
Yeah. So like I was 17 years old. Start my own business. Grow this business up. I get married in my early 20s. I have a beautiful wife. I have a beautiful baby. Things are going pretty good. I've been growing a business for many years. I've reached quite a level of success. Doing $1 million a year worth of business was pretty standard for me at this point in the game. I'm like mid-20s. And come like high 20s, late 20s, all of a sudden I'm going through a divorce. Like there's a whole story around that, but we don't need to get into all the details. Bottom line was, went through a divorce, and it was devastating for me. It was like, I just didn't fare well with this thing. I had all kinds of stories about my parents getting divorced and right and wrong and divorce and pain and separation and aloneness, all my codependency, and it brought up all kinds of issues and pain and unresolved things within me from my childhood and my past and all this stuff. So here I was. I go through the divorce, and I'm in the absolute hell. And what I do to cope with it is, instead of reaching out or getting help, or I didn't even, like, coaches wasn't even on my radar at the time. That was like, hell no, I got this. I don't need any help. Like, I'm plenty smart. Like, what the hell do they know that I don't know? Like, all kinds of stories and ego and resistance and whatever. So instead of, like, soaring through this quickly and easily, I took the long, hard route. And so what do? I'm like, oh, I'll sort this out on my own. I can figure this out. I'm plenty intelligent. So I hole up, like, my strategy, not the best strategy. Don't try this at home. My strategy was disconnect from everybody. First, like, barf all over everybody, all my pain and all my stories, and just regurgitating over and over until I could tell everyone was sick of hearing it. And I just needed an outlet of some sort, and but I didn't want to be a burden to anybody, so what did I end up doing? I holed up in an apartment all by myself. It was dark. I'd just leave it dark all the time. I didn't want to turn on the lights, just enough to see. Wouldn't even buy really groceries. And I would just go to the liquor store and buy typically a couple bottles, big-ass bottles of Jaeger, and just hole up in the darkness and try to drink it all away. And it wasn't working, and I was in absolute hell. And one night I decided that I had had enough. I couldn't sleep. My mind was going 24/7. I'm processing, trying to sort through all the pain, and what does it mean, and what does life mean, and who the hell am I, and everything I've believed and stood for is no longer, like, seems to be true. And I'm questioning everything because I don't trust anybody at this point. I don't trust anything. I'm angry at God. I'm angry at life. It just seems like there's no hope, and there's no way I could ever overcome the pain and the obstacles and the hurdles. I'm so sick of being knocked down and drug out and suffering and not being able to trust anybody or anything, like, just pure pain. So one night I finally decide I'm done, and I grab my gun and I go to find my best friend, who was then in relationship with my ex-wife. And I was going to go ahead and end it for him, and didn't find him, and ended up coming home and turning that gun on myself. I was drunk, driving drunk, going to find him, and come home back to my dark apartment and put the gun in my throat. And I didn't pull the trigger that night. I had a conversation and explored the possibilities, and I didn't actually come to a conclusion other than I wasn't going to do it that night, that I was too tired, and that I would finish the conversation the next day. And I hadn't been sleeping much at all. Like, my mind was so busy and so chaotic with it all, I literally could only sleep like 2 hours a night. I'd just go until pure exhaustion, and then pass out for 2 hours until I was just beyond exhaustion, and then I'd wake up, and then just hell. So I go through this, and finally, somehow, I choose life, and I hire a coach. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to choose life, but I'm not willing to do life the way I've been doing life. I'm no longer willing to justify my position. I'm no longer willing to keep playing this victim card and repeating the same patterns and cycles and believing my own stories. And I didn't even know all this was going on at the time. All I knew is I couldn't do it anymore. So I hired this coach, and it blew me away. I would have one session, and, like, items and issues that were taking me a year to work through, or 6 months to maybe come to some sort of resonance in my own mind, boom, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, 60 minutes. And things that were literally, no joke, I am not exaggerating one bit, things that I was occupying most of my resources, just thinking, lost in this maze of my own mind for 6 months straight, go in and have less than a 30-minute session or 60-minute session and be done.
Chaos to clarity.
Yeah, like bam, bam, bam. So I had one session, like, all right, I'll try this out. Had it, like, holy shit, that was amazing. I want to do this again. I'll try this one more. We'll see. We'll try this again. We'll see how this goes the second time. Again, holy, wow, like this weight being lifted off my shoulders, and like clarity and hope, and
That makes me think about some of the sessions I had with you where I was just like, oh, I'm like, oh, I'm good now. Let's rock this bitch.
And so this went on, and after 2, 3, pretty soon it's like, this absolutely worked. Like, there was no doubt it worked. Mm-hmm. It worked. Like, I was the case study. It worked. And so I break through. In the journey, I discover, once I got past all the pain and the chaos and my childhood and all the healing of this, just all this big-ass weight I've been carrying and all the issues that were clouding up and the programs running in the background, it started to become a conversation of clarity, of purpose, of power. Like, now that I'm not consumed with the drama, what do I want to create? Mm-hmm. Now it's not just about survival, it's about thriving. Mm-hmm. So now began the conversation of purpose and passion and genius and just that beautiful place of what would I most love to do that would make the biggest contribution in the world that I would do whether I got paid or not. Mm-hmm. Now at this time, you got to picture me. Right now, I'm about as fit. Like, I'm not as ripped as everyone in the world, but I'm about as fit as anybody. Mm-hmm. And like, I'm very fit, very in shape, very healthy. But back then, you got to picture me. So I've had all these breakthroughs. I'm starting to come alive. And the voice, there's a quiet voice inside saying, your mission, your purpose is to be a coach and help people to liberate them from the same things that you've liberated yourself from. And I'm like, no, like, they'll laugh at you. Like, look at you, you're too fat. Look at you, I was 260 pounds at the time. So the voice in my head saying, you're too fat, you're too old, you're too ugly, you got too much baggage. Like, there's no way. Everyone's going to laugh at you, they're going to tease you, they're going to crucify you. No one would ever listen to you. You got issues, dude. Like, look, you're divorced. You're like, you don't even know who the hell you are anymore. And you don't even know what the hell you're going to talk about. And look at your results.
And exactly the reason why someone would be listening to you. Isn't that funny how we shift that shit around? Yeah. It's like life of perfectionism. Oh, I want to follow the person who looks perfect and has the mask of perfectionism that hasn't been through any shit. Bullshit! It's like they haven't been through it. That's why, like, literally the picture of me 70 pounds overweight, women are like, I would have never known that that was you. Yeah. Well, of course, if I hadn't been through the struggle and the journey, how can I teach you? Yeah.
So I'll fast forward for a minute on this. Like, I wouldn't hire somebody who's had a six-pack their whole damn life no matter what the hell they eat. That guy don't know how to help me get a six-pack because that's not my body type, my experience. Mm-hmm. The experience I've had is, even when I've eaten perfect, like, I've had to go through breakthrough after breakthrough to get my body to respond and get me where I need to be, where I want to be, where I choose to be. So, like, the guy who has the six-pack, no matter what he eats, that's not my guy. Mm-hmm. It's somebody who's been there through the same struggle as me, tried everything, couldn't get it, and they finally broke through. That person's the one who's qualified to lead me. I don't care what certifications you have. I don't care what degrees you have. So you went to college and you're a nutritionist, but you're fat and you don't look healthy to me.
That always blows my mind. It always makes me question.
Show me the results.
Do you live in the results?
Yeah. So judge them by their fruits, or by their fruits you shall know them. So and even though that guy has a six-pack or that gal, they're ripped or whatever, that's awesome. But if they haven't gone on my journey, they're not my coach. Mm-hmm. They don't know how to liberate me from my journey. They haven't been there. So now that was fast forward, little sidestep, but I want to come back to the story. So I have all these breakthroughs, all the voices in my head. I've discovered that I'm meant to be a coach, but there's so many loud voices that are stifling that quiet voice within that's like, no. It's uprising, it's uprising. And I knew I was meant for so much more. I knew I had a deeper purpose. I knew since I was young that I had a calling, that I was meant to make a big difference in the world. And this isn't because I'm special. Everybody has it, especially you. So it was boiling up, and I knew I had to do this thing. And I kept resisting it. So I go on the mountain. I decide I'm not leaving. I'm going to go up on a mountain away from everybody and everything. And what I kept telling myself is, I need to be clear from God. What does He want me to do? I'm not sure.
Can we go off on that?
Let's do it.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's like everyone says, I don't know how to move unless I know exactly what it looks like and I know what God wants from me. What if the clean slate was God says, child, this is your experience.
Yeah.
I love you so much, you get to choose.
Yeah.
what you want. And I see that as a validation excuse story. People like, well, I prayed and I don't know what God wants, or I've got to receive certain revelation. It's got to be the right time. I don't know why I have like a Texas Bible Belt voice coming out, but it's because I was just with all these Texans at my last event. But seriously, it's like in that, what does God want from you? God wants you to be a creator. God wants you to experience whatever you want to experience. So if you're choosing to experience lack and limitation and money suffering, relationship suffering, it's your choice. Yeah. That's literally a choice too.
It's keeping me stuck for so long, and I'm like, I know I'm meant to have a purpose, and I could hear this little voice saying be a coach, but all the big voices were saying, no, you're not worthy, you can't do it.
No, fucker, you're not smart enough, who's going to listen to you? I had those too, and that's how it sounded.
Yeah, really stupid voices. So, and one of those was this key thing, like one of the biggest excuses was, I need to get clear with God, what does he want from me? And so I went to the mountain, and the process worked great, because I said, look, God, I'm not leaving here until I'm clear. So I'm not fucking leaving.
Where's my burning bush?
Yeah. So I sit, and I'm by a stream, I'm on a rock, I'm by a log, whatever, all this nature. I figure this is ideal environment, bringing in the elements, and I sit there, and I decide I'm not going to allow my mind to keep getting distracted with all the business and all the chaos and all the excuses and all the other voices. I'm going to sit here until I get clear. What is my mission and purpose? And I sat there for somewhere between, I don't know, 3 to 6 hours. Mm-hmm. And when I left there, I was like, all right, I know.
I'm a coach.
I'm a coach.
Yeah, you get to liberate people. And I'm so fucking glad God, I don't know what message he gave you, but I'm so fucking glad you decided to live up to that calling, because you've liberated me in so many ways and assisted me huge. But even thinking about that, like I know one of my belief systems when I first started was like, oh, you're not knowledgeable enough. Who are you to know? And I'm like, you look at it, and people that I train and coach too, as they're up-leveling to that space and like learning who the goddess is within, and going through that, it's like, do you have the experience? All you were sharing is your experience of what was your how you worked through and how you became your message. Yeah. And so that was huge for you. That was a step up, and and I know you've gotten, when did it really shift for you that you became so focused on the sales and the marketing and the financial side? Would you say that that's a huge part of what you do now?
Absolutely. So results there. I'm on the mountain. Voice says, or whatever, clarity from within says, yeah, you're a coach. And so I leave there. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be a coach. Even though the results said, you're fat, you think you're ugly, your income so far has been inconsistent, lots of peaks, valleys, like feast, famine, you're divorced, and you've pretty much failed at every past relationship you've ever had. So, and spiritually, you've been completely disconnected and totally absorbed in your own drama and your own little world. So, spiritually, I was bankrupt. Relationship-wise, I was bankrupt. Financially, I wasn't bankrupt literally at the time. I did go bankrupt later, but I wasn't bankrupt at the time. And whatever spiritually, mentally, physically, anyway,
all aspects,
like all over the place.
It was all fucked up right then.
So I started to go to work, and the first thing I did was more healing on me, more spirituality, all kinds of crazy stuff, like 65-day juice fast with no food, like major mind mastery and presence and shifting and letting go of stories and beliefs and addictions, and all kinds of things happened for me in there. Lots of healing conversations with my parents, because healing with your parents is a critical piece of the journey. The pieces you judge and hate and resist about them tend to show up in you. And so, like, for instance, like, as I'm going through this, and I'm like, I've got to heal this stuff. Like, I'm facing into it, and I had heard something like, if you don't heal, like, half of you is your mom and half of you is your dad, and if you don't take the time to heal this stuff and don't come to terms with this, you can't move forward fully. You can't expand into your full greatest capacity. And then there was a scripture that backed this up that said something like, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the earth. So I questioned that. I'm like, what does this mean on a deeper level? And it was really like, Disease is simply dis-ease. Disconnected. So anything that I was judging, and which at the time I hated my mom and my dad on high levels. And so I started thinking, well, I got to clear this stuff up with them. Now, these were hard conversations, like intense. We don't even have time to go into the details, but it was intense. Like, this was my deepest, darkest, hardest shit to deal with. So I have these intense conversations with my mom, intense conversations with my dad that were literally so intense that I got sick, physically sick at times, and went into like shakes and all kinds of stuff as I was releasing the trauma of the past. So like, to give you a little taste or a hint of the trauma involved in my childhood and where I came from, like my very first memory, one of my biggest breakthroughs that I kept coming back through, it was like this traumatic experience of my dad. There was really many, but there was a few key ones. And one was this experience of my dad. I'm about 4 years old, and my mind kept, every time I'd be up against something in my life, this main experience was one of the most traumatic that would always come up and resurface in the midst of it, and I'd be like, how does this tie? How does this connect? What does this have to do with what's holding me back right now? And so, like, as I'm 4 years old, my dad comes in, and he gathers us all together. I don't remember how we got in the room. All I remember is we're all in the living room. I have a large family. I have like 9 brothers. I have 9 brothers and sisters total in my family. My mom and dad are married, and my dad's drunk and yelling at the top of his lungs, throws the high chair through the front window of the house, breaks the front window. My mom finally gets sick of it. He's kind of beating and yelling and freaking out at the top, like just insanity. My mom finally can't take the abuse anymore, runs out the front door. He runs out chasing her, yelling. A while later, they come back in, and she's bloody. I don't know for sure what happened out there. And her glasses are broken. And, like, this is me. Like, this is me as a 4-year-old. So my dad, like, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot of details. It was pure chaos. And my dad comes back in, and he says, I'm leaving. I'm never coming back. And whoever's coming with me, get in the car. And whoever's staying with your mom, stay here. And so I'm like 4 years old trying to sort through what the hell, how do I make this decision? What, like, how the hell, like, totally frozen, trying to sort through what's going on. So this was a big traumatic experience, and later on in life I'm questioning as it keeps coming up. I'm like, why does this keep coming up? What do I need to learn from this? And, like, what's going on here? So one of the breakthroughs was that I became scared. Now, there's another story I'm going to tell first, I guess. So there was another experience I had. I didn't actually remember this until later. I talked to my sister. So one day, I'm 30-something years old. We're driving in Montana in these high mountains, and I'm freaking out. I'm having sadness and waves as I became more conscious and aware of my feelings and what was going on in my life, my body, my experience. We're driving next to these cliffs, and I was not just feeling fear, but like all kinds of waves of sadness, and I'm crying, and I'm like, what the hell is this about? And so I call my sister, like Spirit said, call your sister. So I call my oldest sister. I'm like, I felt impressed to call you. I'm not sure what, but this is what's happening. We're driving on these big, tall mountains, and I'm freaking out, and I have all these waves of sadness. And it reminds me back in the day when I used to have this reoccurring dream over and over again of us in a blue car driving off a cliff, the entire family, and driving off this certain cliff. I know I take you to the cliff right now. It's so clear. It was so vivid from even a young age, those reoccurring dreams that came over and over and over of me and my family driving off this cliff. I still see the car, the color, the cliff, like I know the exact spot. So I asked my sister, what's going on? It's reminding me of this reoccurring dream. And she's like, well, do you remember? I'm like, remember what? Well, one time we were driving down the road, and Dad was drunk with all of us in the car, and my older brother was crying, and my dad was very, like, had this major, like, temper. And so he's like, shut the fuck up, blah! And my brother wouldn't stop crying, and so my dad pulls over drunk to the edge of this cliff. It's like a big, straight-off, 200-foot cliff. And he says, according to my sister, I don't actually remember this story, but this, like, I just had the reoccurring dreams and the sensations of what happened, and my sister's like, this is what happened. So apparently we pulled up to the cliff and stopped on the edge of the cliff, and then he was yelling, trying to get control, and yelling and telling, shut up, and surging, like, I'll drive off this cliff, he's telling us, and surging the motor and slamming on the brakes and stopping right on the edge of the cliff. So this is like the chaos I was born into as a baby. This is the world I was growing up in. So this this is a perfect example to explain the upper limits problem and how we set our thermostats at very early ages, and then we develop our whole personality through the first 6 years of our life, and then we repeat these patterns over and over and over again. And if we don't learn how to raise this thermostat, we just stay there. Like 99% of people who are born into the life that I was born into stay there. They repeat it. They do the same shit. They pass it down to their kids. Like 99%, maybe more, probably 99.99. Like, I don't know why I'm so fortunate, why I'm so blessed, how the hell I navigated that minefield.
I do. You chose a coach to shift your perceptions.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, but there's some of the ties that I got was it wasn't safe. I wasn't safe with men. I wasn't safe with my masculinity. I wasn't safe with my power. I wasn't safe with my anger. I wasn't safe with standing up to authority figures or people that were bold and big and loud, or people. So because of that, I couldn't access the power, the true full access of who I am.
Shut it down.
I shut that down and suppressed it. Like, look at the consequences as a youngster and how I might make up the story that if I speak up, if I share my voice and my vote and put in my 2 cents worth, the whole family might die right now.
Yeah. Wow.
Like, who knows what we're all going to pay if I speak up, so I'll just sit quietly because it's not worth the price.
Yeah.
So that carried on throughout my life over, and the problem is we don't even know these patterns are running. We're not even aware of it. You can't see it from the viewpoint of where we're at. We have to get to a higher elevation and look back and go, holy crap, that's what's happening.
Don't you think that this is why, like, we are actually living subconsciously? We're not living consciously. We're living out of these beliefs, these identity patterns, these behaviors, and until you have either the triggers or the things, and you re-question it, you look at it a different way, you have that coach that says, let's look at it this way, let's question these things to see if they're true or not, where do they come from, and in this different perception, you literally don't become conscious.
Yep.
It's, I think, part of our opportunity here is to recreate consciousness, to live consciously every moment, and that's what you did when you're like, whoa, emotions are coming up, what's going on in me, and you asked yourself questions to become more aware of what's going on, and then you got to discover this, and it was a gift for you because you were holding yourself at what you describe as that thermostat. So explain that a little bit more of that thermostat that you talk about and you really teach people to bypass.
Awesome. So this thermostat rule applies to everybody in every area of our lives. So if it ties in so many ways, from the way we were potty trained to how our breastfeeding or feeding in our early ages of life went, how conception and pregnancy and everything about our developmental stages psychologically sets the tone for this. Like, if our parents said things like money don't grow on trees or money's evil or all of that, those start to set the financial thermostat.
Yep.
And so there's so many things. So from the times we were punished to the time, like, even if it's not traumatic, because many of you out there didn't have the craziness that I had. It's not about that. Whatever you had, your experience, mine is no more intense than yours. It's just as real for all of us, and it's just as intense for all of us, and everyone's experience is actually equally as hard. I discovered along the journey, and through my coaching career and through my own meditations and all my intense experiences, that the rich person, not the rich person, the person that was born to the perfect family, has just as big of a challenge getting the humility they need to be open to learning, and the open to learning is the key of what you were talking about, that allows us to change the unconscious programs that are running. As long as we're defending, this is how life is, this is the truth, and defending our current beliefs and our current patterns and our current position,
and proving them right.
Yeah, then we stay.
Yeah.
We keep doing what we've always done and keep getting what we've always got.
Yeah.
So that openness to learning. So for me, it was like I was the poor kid who had the dramatic childhood and all that stuff. So for me, it was always about, am I worthy? Am I lovable? Am I good enough? But that's no harder of a journey than defending and feeling like, of course I've got it figured out. Like, I come from the perfect family, perfect experiences. I drive the nicest cars. Money's easy for me. All these things, like, yeah, like how it's just as hard to get out of that and actually get open and have a deeper experience as it is for me to learn to love myself. So none of us had a harder experience. We all chose an equal experience. It's just as valid. It's just a matter of, are we going to open up and get curious and start looking at it through the new lens to get the learnings and the expansion in the fastest, easiest way possible, instead of repeating the same old patterns and getting the same old results over and over and over again.
So when you talk about the thermostat, you're saying from whatever your belief systems were, whatever your experiences were, you have a thermostat, like a setting that it just kicks off for your finances, for your relationships, for your body, for everything. As why when you get close, you feel anxious, uncomfortable, you prove those beliefs right, and you stay there. How do you reset that thermostat, which is what you're genius at?
Yes, so there's just these tools that I learned along the way. Like, I dug deep. I mean, my mess was deep. And so I had a lot of work to clean up my mess, just from my childhood and everything. And I clarify the words here. The experience I chose to come through didn't happen to me. My parents didn't do this to me.
You chose the beliefs you did in the moment.
I chose to come to this family. Mm-hmm. I chose to have this experience. Mm-hmm. I chose it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. Mm-hmm. So I chose this lineage. I chose these challenges. I chose these obstacles. Anytime I believe I'm a victim to anybody or anything, it is not giving me power, it is holding me down. Mm-hmm. So embracing every aspect of me, like, yeah, would I consciously choose to suffer? No, but would I consciously choose to get the growth and the learning and then to liberate myself so that I can turn and liberate others? And giving me the ability, at first it's like, I'm a victim, look how hard my life was, poor me, God must not love me, and He loves them more than me, and blah, 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 blah. No. Like, I was blessed with a deep, deep, powerful experience of, like, learning the deepest, darkest, scariest places in the world. And now I have the ability and the foundation to walk with anybody, anywhere, anytime.
Powerful. So powerful.
Like, it's part of my message, part of my journey, like part of my ability to liberate people. I'm not fucking scared to go wherever you need to go.
Mm-hmm. And through your deepest dark comes your greatest light. But isn't that interesting how we would misperceive that instead of seeing it like you just described it so epically. I mean, that's my new word apparently because it sounds like it's going to work. But it was an opportunity for you to now have what you have instead of, and I think so many people on the other side of it, they want to look at it like, well, you don't know what I'm experiencing. And obviously they can hear your story and go, oh, you do. Or you were even in a way harder place than I was. But so why do we stay to choose in a place of saying, well, this is why I'm stuck. This is what I'm in. It's simply choice. Yeah. It really is always simply choice. When you see it as like, I'm so grateful, what am I learning from this? Who does this allow me to become? It's all feedback. It's just a perception shift to allow you to grow to this place now where literally, and you can. You take people through that deep, deep, deep emotion of turning it around because you've experienced that. And so you're the perfect person to liberate people with that. Yeah. It's powerful.
So there's a whole set of tools that I use, like in processes, because on my journey, I was like just seeking anything and everything. So my tool belt, I actually spent so many, and now I need to go into this marketing and sales piece you were bringing up. So I went in literally like a decade or more searching and seeking spirituality and relationships and psychology and body language and breakthrough work and healing and parenting and rebirthing breath work and like anything I could get my hands on. Like, I didn't know. I was just digging. You were open to learning. I was like, I need to learn some shit. I don't know how I'm getting where I'm going, but I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop learning, and I'm not going to give up, and I will propel forward no matter what the hell gets in my way, period. Which is like everything I just said right there. That's pretty much the keys to success.
Determined purpose.
Like if you will commit right now that no matter what comes and no matter what price you have to pay and no matter what obstacles you face or counter commitments or competing commitments or whatever you want to call it, no matter what gets in your way, you will learn from every experience that happens in your life. You will get up every time you fall down, no matter what, no matter how bad it hurts, no matter how painful, no matter how hard, no matter how tired. I will learn, I will get up, and I will move forward.
Did you know that 98 out of 100 people stop after just 2 to 3 times of experiencing resistance? When the resistance is just saying, it's not going to work this way, what else do I got to try? Like, how many times did Edison try to figure out the whole light bulb thing? Like, right? It's like we wouldn't have electricity if he just said, oh, fuck, I failed.
I tried 3 times.
3 times, it didn't work.
I guess it don't work.
Yeah.
10,000 times he tries it and says, I haven't failed 9,999 times. I've discovered
how
what
not to do
work.
it. Exactly, you got it. So real quick though, because I know normally I want to make sure, again, people have a way to get to you. They can follow you on Facebook, which is Christopher John Stubbs on Facebook, or is it Christopher J. Stubbs?
I think it's Christopher John Stubbs.
Okay, and then also your email again.
My web address, yes. ChristopherJohnStubbs.com. Perfect. And like, seriously, just reach out and message me on Facebook. Like, don't waste your time. Don't sit and fiddle fart around with all the, like, check out my webpage and get a bigger feel for some. I got some awesome videos and an app and a bunch of cool stuff on there. But, like, if you really want to get to know me, you want to reach out, even just have a quick free session from me, have a quick breakthrough, just have a taste of me, just message me, private message me on Facebook. Keep it simple. Yeah.
So that makes me think about you and I yesterday were talking about sales conversations and how he is genius at assisting a lot of people that are stuck in, like, they have gifts, they have passions, they have purposes, but they get stuck in the sales conversation because the messed up, jacked up perceptions. I know, I dealt with this years ago, is like seeing, and I get to continue to always grow in everything that I'm in, but I see it as an inspiration to, or a chance to inspire people to action. And you were talking about how if people really truly are present and in it for what they're in it, it's just a conversation to discover where is the person really struggling and what best assists them. And you were saying this actually is the perfect experience to liberate people and give them a breakthrough. Expand into that and kind of your genius around those areas of sales, marketing, and those gifts.
So, like, for me, I had become certified, like, 5 ways from sun to like, I was just certified in this, that, and I kept thinking I needed another certification. So I'd done a lot of healing. I'd embraced, okay, I'm a coach. I had gone and got this certification, that training, this breakthrough, that coach, like, done all these things, but still I was doing this wave of, like, feast, famine, feast, famine, feast, famine, and the whole journey, people are laughing at me. Every fear I ever had that people would say about me, they said and thought and judged and criticized and condemned and all of it, which was perfect because that was part of my breakthrough process, was them reflecting that fear and that insecurity in me and then me coming to terms with it, so that now...
I was going to say, you wouldn't even see that now.
Yeah.
Right?
Now they say that shit, like, I don't even hear it, but when they say it, it's like, awesome. Mm-hmm. So it can become actually fuel. So I go through that whole experience and I just keep thinking, I need another breakthrough, I need another workshop, I need another coach, and I was seeking more spiritual and more healing and more whatever, but there came a point when it's like, the voice said, dude, you're way more than healed. Like, you've gone, like, it's, the healing always goes on. It's not like that I've achieved perfection. It's always expansion and healing and new breakthroughs that come along the journey, but I shifted the focus from how am I fixing myself, where we started in the beginning of this call, to how am I expanding myself? And then I realized, then something clicked. The reason why I'm not having consistent money is because I'm avoiding the sales and marketing conversation. Mm-hmm. I had resistance, fear, like doubts, insecurities about rejection and self-worth and betrayal. So, yeah, I could sit one-on-one with you and rock your world. And it was amazing. But but to actually put myself out there and risk and fully just embrace and selflessly promote myself and say, yes, I'm a badass. Yes, I can make a big-ass difference in your life. Yes, I'm powerful. Yes, you deserve it. And let's rock and roll. And even beyond that, like, ask you the questions and discover where you're at, what's holding you back, and then assist you through that. Because that's the real art of sales. Is it's not me talking, telling you how cool I am, or trying to pitch you on something you don't need. integrous sales. Now, are there salespeople out there that do that? Yeah, they just want to sell you something, and they do a lot of talking, and they tell you whatever they need to tell you to get you to buy whatever they want you to buy so that they can have some money. That's not integrity-based sales. So the sales process that I use and that my people use is question-based. It's like honoring the principles, like the simplest principles that Stephen Covey taught us clear back in the day, like seek first to understand, then to be understood. Mm-hmm. Like my job is to listen. In sales, my job is to listen.
Versus talking.
And get clear. Where are they at? What's holding them back? And then be real. Like, am I the ideal person to help them get this? If not, don't frickin' take their money.
Yes. Thank you.
Just say, look, you know.
But that's the difference between scarcity and you knowing your purpose. You know you're a badass. You know what you can do for people. You know you deliver a result. So it's simply, are you a good fit? Are they committed enough to be in your presence and ready to do what you do? So if they're not, it's like, of course it's not going to serve either of you, but people that are in lack and limitation and scarcity and fear, not operating on their true alignment and self and know their God or goddess within, they're like, oh, well, it doesn't sound right, but I got to take their money because I need to survive, and then it doesn't serve anyone, and it becomes this disconnect of selves.
Yep. So it's critical that we only, like when we feel truly aligned, like I'm a fit for them, they're a fit for me, we're totally going to rock this. Then you take their money, you make the exchange, and you provide way more value than you charge for, and happy, everyone feels like they got the better end of the deal. Yep. So this is a critical piece. So for me in the story, back to the story, it's like I hadn't done this piece, and I'd done all the breakthrough, and I had more breakthrough tools and skills than like way too many. Like not really, can't really have too many, but I just didn't need that many. I had 100 times what I needed to be a badass coach. So then I came to realize if I want to thrive and I want to really be able to serve others, because I was going through like, man, feast, famine, feast, famine. My wife's like, you need to quit. You need to get a job. Like this is too inconsistent. I need some stability. Which this is a hard conversation, guys. Like support your spouse, man or woman, to live their purpose. And like, there's nothing more important than fulfilling your purpose. Getting a job and paying the bills is not an option.
And I could go off on the goddess side and be like, when do women get to step and be like, how do I create the experience? You've got to make me feel safe and secure. Yeah. You've got to make me feel important and validated.
100%.
Bullshit. I'll stop there. That's a whole other show, brother.
Go off for a whole other hour on that subject. So like, guys, gals, both of you, like, find your passion. If you're not secure, the security is an inside job. It's not your husband's job to make you secure, and money's not going to make you secure.
Yep.
Security comes from inside, and then money follows. So that's the whole be, do, have versus do, have, be paradigm. We're not going to go into that, but like, just make yourself secure and follow your heart, follow your passion, get past all your scarcity and survival issues. Come to terms with being broke, and come to terms with having it all. So for me, I finally took on the sales and marketing conversation and started investing in that. And just for me, it was always critical for me to be as high integrity as possible. So while I'm learning the sales and the marketing, half of what I'm learning is from people that aren't high integrity. Yeah. They're teaching me all these manipulation skills.
Sales,
like
strategies.
How can we manipulate the hell out of people to get them to do stuff? And so I was sorting through it. I'm like, what's the true principle behind what they're teaching me, and how can it be applied in a way that's integrous, that allows, like, honors all, truly creates a win-win, and like is aligned with all of the principles, including seek first to understand, then to be understood, and listen. Like the most important and valuable skill in the world is listening. Yeah. Because everything's about relationships, your relationship to others, your relationship to money, your relationship to yourself, and how all of those relations, bottom line is, the core of that is the relationship with yourself, and every other relationship is just a manifestation of the relationship within you.
Hence, the body, the relationships, the finances. This is why we both are super passionate and believe that you get to have a life of having it all, because when you're aligned in truth with yourself, your self-worth is there, everything gets to be awesome. It would only be still operating out of lack and limitation. Say, oh, I can have a great body and I'll put my attention there, or I can have great relationships, but my finances get stuck, and that's where you still are at. So it's almost like you were mid-level, and then you would say, whoa, why am I holding myself back? Why am I experiencing feast and famine? And you took it to that next level, And you studied and did this to such a huge degree that this is like a really specific niche for you of people that you take and help them really break through the mindset around money and the sales conversations and the marketings. And the thing I would love, because we could go off forever, but the thing that I would really love for you to expand on is where that shifted for you to go, this is why marketing and being a master marketer for yourself is so important, because I know I experienced, and you were huge for me in this, going through that teaching of, oh, Marci, I just want to be the breakthrough. I just wanted to change lives. And I just wanted to share my passion, my purpose, and all these tools that I knew. So I kind of fought the same conversation you did as how do I market myself? How do I sell? Because there was all these negative ties. And I kept experiencing, I'd pay a shitload of money, 30 grand over and over and over again to people to do the business side. And bullshit, I kept experiencing being a victim. And you guys were huge for me in saying, Marci, until you become a master marketer, until you learn how to share what you have, you will always be a victim. Yeah. And you'll always be able to share your gifts. But it's funny, you find people that have the greatest gifts and nobody knows. Yep. They're not able to share it. So expand on that.
So having the greatest gift in the world but not being able to share it keeps you like, if anything, you're more stuck, more trapped. So for me, I was like, I have to break through this. I'm not willing to stop. I'm not willing to stay here. I'm not willing to spiral back down. And I started to see it through this metaphor of like planting a seed and being a farmer. So a farmer, if he wants to grow a bumper crop, and what I had the tendency to do was plant the seeds, plant, get a bumper crop and say, oh, I've got a bumper crop.
What's a bumper crop?
That's like having way more food than I need.
I grew up on a farm, and I'm like, what are you talking about?
Bumper crop is like, I don't know why they named it that. Maybe it's like the truck's so loaded the bumpers drag, and I don't know. But
okay, got it. A full amount of...
you got such a big crop, you don't even know what to do with it. Like, the stuff's going to waste.
Got it.
And so what I would do is I would market once I started to get the marketing piece. And then I would go, oh no, I've got so many clients, I got so much money, I'm going to stop marketing, which is the primal response is I've got plenty, stop. But that would be like the farmer saying, I've got a bumper crop, I'm going to stop planting, which means when that bumper crop runs out and half of it's going to go rotten and bad, then I'm starving again.
Yep.
So what I learned was plant, bumper crop, keep planting, and harvest every day. So marketing every day, sales every day. I don't care how many clients you have. If it means you have to raise your prices, raise your prices. If it means you need to bring on other people to help facilitate your processes and programs, bring on other people. So expand your capacity to deliver the goods, but always be marketing and selling. Now, there's another question you're wanting me to get to. What was it with the marketing and sales piece? Do you remember?
Just expanding on, well, I mean, before we were talking about how you see sales, which I think you covered really well. The other gift and genius you have is just clarifying why people want to become a master marketer. So why is this important for them to do? Not just like you're giving kind of a tool here and saying it needs to happen every day, because when you actually, what you're doing right now might not show up for you for 90 days or 6 months down the road. And so I get that concept. But why would someone say, if someone's in the concept of, oh, well, I'm just going to pay someone to do this. Why is that important?
So here's the deal. Like, no one can communicate your message the way, like, how the hell is someone else going to flow you? They can't. So that's a big piece of it. The second piece is you can't pray a rocket into space. Like, wrap your mind around this. Like, if I was a rocket scientist and we were new into rocket scientists and, like, the science of rocketry, and I'm like, I think we could launch something if we put a lot of propulsion, a lot of fuel, and light a fire, and get it to jet this way, and I think we could launch it into space. And so they launch one, and it's like off balance, and it goes and crashes, and then they redesign some stuff. And so what they had to do is discover what are the principles that govern this, and how can we operate within the realm of these principles so that we can get it into space. So you can pray all day long, please God, please let this rocket go into space. Please God, I'm serving, because some of the principles that it takes to be successful is dollars follow value. Exchange creates wealth.
Yes.
People are assets. So I knew these principles. I'm like, well, I'm providing value all day, everywhere I go. When are the blessings going to come? Well, like you said, like this is God. I know this principle's true, but what the hell? And now I'm getting pissed at God saying, when are you going to deliver? Thinking it was this outside thing, that if I prayed hard enough, that I did enough good, that if I was a nice enough guy, that if I cared enough,
it'll land in your lap,
that somehow it's going to come to me and just God in the world was going to bless me.
Yes.
But like back to the rocket analogy, you can't pray a rocket into space. Like, sure, God wants me to have, if I want the rocket in space, God wants me to have a rocket in space. If I want to have plenty of clients, God wants me to have plenty of clients. But if I'm not aligned with the principles that predicate that blessing, I don't get the blessing.
Meaning you're not taking the action.
There's not the actions. I'm not aligned. Like, that would be like praying that I'm going to get a bumper crop, but I'm not planting seeds.
Yeah.
I'm not harvesting. I'm not cultivating. I'm not watering. I'm not nurturing those seeds. Pray all you want. If you don't do the action necessary, faith without works.
It's just like people visualizing, oh, I see it, and I'm going to focus on it, but I don't actually do anything. And again, they think it'll just show up.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So visualizing is step one, and it's critical. That's your faith piece. That's your belief. That's your hope. That's your inspiration that gets you moving forward. And holding the vision and knowing where you're moving towards, yeah, that's a beautiful and required step. But it's not the cure-all, end-all. Like, the whole idea that all you need to do is put it on a vision board and then let it be, you need to get off your ass and take some action.
Yes.
And there's certain things that are required, and if you're going to be in business, you will do marketing and sales, fucking period. Period. That's just part of the game. Like, that's like saying I'm going to plant seeds and I'm going to water them.
And I think nobody hears that when they start a business. They think they get focused on their or I see so many people get stuck on like, I want to create this program. I have to know what it looks like and do all this, and I have to get, like you said, the branding and this and this. And this. I mean, I know you could go off on that subject too.
Logo, branding, websites, product, service, packaging, all this stuff. Yeah, you need to know how you're going to deliver value and make a big-ass contribution with big-ass results in people's lives. But at the end of the day, if you can't communicate that message effectively through your marketing and then have an effective sales conversation that discovers whether or not you and this person are a fit, you're wasting you're totally wasting everything.
You don't have anyone to give it to.
Yeah.
And then they create something that then they find out isn't even a fit for what people are looking for.
Yeah.
That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
This is why this guy is amazing. This is why he's a genius, especially in this niche, because he broke through at a huge level degree. I know he was huge for me in assisting massive breakthrough in that area as well, and being able to catapult my experience with money consciousness and what I've created in my business, and just not to mention like the deep emotional. Like that's where I just like to see, I'm like, my love for my brother here, that I love him, like to go through the depths with me and shift so many things that where I had a thermostat and was capped, and my life now is so beyond, way beyond I could have even fathomed, and it just continues to be so every single day. So Chris, I know because we're already past time, and again we could go on for a long time, and you just have so much value to give. We let everyone know again where they can find you, but also like you and I talked a little bit, you have some big results type awesome stuff coming out that you're actually just launching and releasing and opening that people would have a chance to get into, because most of the time I know your time is very limited, and that you have clients that you deliver a strict result to, so you only do a certain amount of things, so that he's got an amazing family life, and amazing, like he has the results of living and having it all. And that's why, not only having gone through the shitter and having gone through the journey, but being an example of having it. He's not some coach that's fake ass living in a mask of having it. I've seen it, I've experienced, I've learned from it, I've grown from it. So now you actually have a group mastermind type mentorship that you're launching to allow lots of people to get an experience with you. So let everyone know about that.
So I've been doing what we talked about earlier. I've learned and just implemented and committed 100%. And in the beginning, it was so hard and so scary. I was scared to be rejected, scared to come off as an idiot, scared of who was going to accept me, who was going to turn on me, whatever. But I just committed. I market, I sell every single day. I plant every day. I harvest every single day. So the marketing is the planting. The harvesting is the sales. See, like I market, which is planting seeds out into the world, providing value, providing value, providing value. And then every day I reach out, create sales conversations where I get in a conversation. A sales conversation is simply me getting in a heartfelt conversation with somebody, genuinely caring, discovering what's stopping them from going to the next level, and then generating a solution on how to help them get out of that and move into the greatest version of themselves. So So I've been living this for so long that now I always have a bumper crop now. It's just a lifestyle. I have such a surplus of people coming to me every day, messaging me without me even trying. And I'm telling you guys, consistent action is a critical key to this. So just every day, show up and do your marketing, do your sales. And the sales piece and the harvesting piece is critical, because if all I do is ever plant every day and I'm too scared to have that sales conversation, so now you're showing up providing value all the time, but you're resisting that sales conversation, you don't bring in that money, or you don't pick that fruit and eat it, you're not going to have the energy to plant tomorrow.
Yep.
And now you're back in the scarcity, fight or flight. So guys, I've been doing this for a long time. I have so many clients and so many people beating my door down. Please help me, coach me. And I'm getting so particular, so specific about who I help, who I work with. And I'm bringing on coaches. I've got these different systems in place so that I can help more people to live what I told you. Like, okay, there's a bumper crop. How can I expand to help as many people as possible? But what I'm offering right now, we've got some one-on-ones. No, one-on-ones very high-end. But you can hit me up if you think you are on a level that you can handle the one-on-one intensity that I bring and make the emotional, mental, financial, and every other level of investment.
I got to do that. That's beyond awesome.
So hit me up if that's you. If not, we've got a group mastermind experience between me and my coaches, super powerful, accountability, hanging out with high-end guys. Like, we work with some very, very powerful people, so associating with the right people, having accountability, taking massive action, getting the breakthroughs, getting the learnings, because at the end of the day, there's three main things that determine your success. One is your skill sets. Like, what skills do you have? Do you have the skills, the marketing skills you need, the sales skills you need, the relationship skills you need? Like, what all skills do you need to get from where you are to where you want to be? Mindsets. What all mindsets are keeping you stuck? What breakthroughs do you need to clear out and have so that you can bust through to the next level and get past those and break those chains and become the next greatest version of yourself? Next piece is environments. Who are you surrounding yourself with? Are you surrounded, like, take the seeds. If I took 2 seeds of equivalent potential and I plant one like in like this lava bed that's dead, there's no new, like, whatever, it's just dead, and I don't water it, don't anything, the chance, like, it's going to wither away and die. If I plant one in the absolute optimal fertile soil and I nurture it and I water it and give it the perfect amount of sunlight, it's going to reach its full capacity and potential. So every one of us has infinite potential. There's no one on the planet who has more potential and is better than anybody. We all have access to the very same potential. It's just a matter of, have you tapped into that capacity and that potential, and how quickly can you do that in the most easy and fun and fulfilling way, and how many people can you help do the same thing? So so the third piece I'm talking about is that potential. Putting yourself around the people that are in my network, like the best of the best, people highly committed to learning, to growing, to expanding, to reaching the highest capacity in all levels of life, so that we can have the very best of everything and optimize every area of our lives. So I have various different programs. If you're interested, seriously, the quickest, easiest way to get with me is friend me on Facebook, private message me, and I'll either have a conversation with you personally, or I will have one of my people get in touch with you.
Awesome. So that was, and actually, okay, so I think we can announce, because we kind of talked about this yesterday, getting to be around Chris, you can tell, fire, passion, power, energy. He delivers it in such a degree, and so many elements that are just catapult your life. I believe I bring it in goddess game, and so together, like, we love creating. And yesterday we're like, you know what? We want to create an epic kind of exotic, badass breakthrough experience is what we're talking about. So that's something else that Chris and I are looking at in the next couple of months, and we're getting clear on dates because we're both kind of booked out, and having like an experience weekend, either an exotic location or a seminar weekend, and being able to do some epic, awesome, adventurous, fun shit, because we love to make it fun shit, and we love to bring the breakthrough. So if you guys are interested in that as well, you can either message me or message Chris. We'll start compiling a list, have our assistants put it together that as we have those dates and those things, and we can give you the information on that. Again, to get this show, download it, any past shows, you can go to marcilockapp.com, get the TV, the radio, all the breakthrough information on the app in the palm of your hand. Go to mindbody90.com to get access to my free video series, to get fucking real, right? To get clear and liberate yourself from the lies, because I know I got to go through an awesome journey as well. But this man has been one of my most amazing mentors. And so I can't stress enough for you guys to definitely touch base with Chris. Follow him on Facebook. Learn from him every day. I had actually an application in this morning. I get apps every day and too for my program, and we decide where they fit best and how we can serve people. And one said, I started following, Christopher Stubbs and Marci and Jesse Elder and all these people like that are my coaches and Garrett and a year ago, and said I took my income from 20,000 to 100,000 just watching you guys and learning what you guys talk about on Facebook and you teach. So you can get so much value there, but if you truly want to not take that 10-year journey, not go through the hard. I mean, I know I did it years ago. I had a coach and I bust through, and then I went through that, I'll just do this on my own for a while. And my life was like slowly doing this. Instead of like, now it's just catapults, because I will never, ever not have a coach. I will always, let me rephrase that into what I want, is I will always have a coach. I have 6 currently, and this badass is one of them, and he will always be one of my coaches because he continues to assist me in expansion and up-leveling in every degree that I'm at. And so now I'm just so blessed that we get to, we're both at such a level that we just are playing. I mean, hello, we're on our way to Havasupai to play for 5 days with no service, to totally just disconnect and be in nature and just be experiencing with our friends and our families. And his beautiful wife's with us, and she's one of my best friends. And we just get to have the most amazing experience in epic life. And then I'm flying to New York, and you're playing, and you're actually going to go stay at my house. I'm not even going to be there in Utah with my nanny and go Spartan race it up and do fun stuff. We're just off playing, and yet we're still connecting. We're doing our mastermind calls. We're talking to our personal clients, and we're just expanding people to that fuller capacity. So if you're ready to be catapulted, let me say that. If you want to experience the catapult, to launch your life to a higher degree, to find that power within, to unleash the God and Goddess within, that's when you get a coach and you get the badass of the badasses. Because when you do that, that's why I only hire badasses. I only have the most badass people, because I am a badass, and that's what I get to have. You can start small, and maybe you friend them on Facebook and do all that. But if you're ready to really rock out your life, you just get to be committed to say, how do I get to make this work, and what is possible for me? And you start asking those questions, constantly expand, and life just gets greater, right? Yo, Snap. Anything else that you want to share is ending this out, and any other advice for people who are maybe on that side of it, where they're in that pit and they see what you've accomplished and hearing obviously your story, what you've gone through, what would you tell them?
Just one final analogy, guys. If you think of the daunting task of climbing Mount Everest, if we were to decide, hey, let's all go climb Mount Everest today. I don't know how to climb Mount Everest. Yeah, I'm the breakthrough alchemist, but have I had the breakthrough experience of climbing Mount Everest? I haven't had that experience yet. Mm-hmm. So if I tried to go climb Mount Everest right now by myself, I would most likely die. At the very best case scenario, I would get a quarter of the way up, and then I'd get super sick and sore, and then I'd turn around and give up. They'd probably have to chop me off the mountain. Now, if I did the work, if I hired a guide, because there's professionals who have climbed up and down, up and down, up and down. They live there. They know the climate. Because there's this whole acclimation process. You have to climb up and then climb halfway back, and then climb a little bit further, and then a little bit back, and you have to acclimate. Otherwise, you literally die from this breath, the oxygen deprivation, all that. There's this whole process. So beyond fitness and mental toughness and all the things it takes to climb Mount Everest, there's all the skill sets and the knowledge that it requires to pull it off successfully. And even the best of the best with the guides sometimes die. So there's no way in hell, if I chose to climb Everest, I'm going to choose to climb that on my own. Yeah. It's just, that's insanity. Yeah. So if you want to climb Everest, it's if a small life of mediocrity is not okay with you. And if you have a bunch of money and you think that you're cool, but your relationships suck, your spirituality is what's that? And your physical health isn't at an absolute all-time high and continually expanding, you don't have that power, that access to the vessel, this tool that you have, you don't have it all. This is not success. I don't care what money you have, and having one piece of it this doesn't cut it. It's not your greatest possibility. It's not your greatest potential. It's not living your purpose. It's not expanding. It's not aligned with who you really are, and you know it.
Yep.
So, guys, you can either spend 10 years trying to climb Everest and probably die on the journey, or you can take the fastest, simplest, easiest way by getting guidance and support on the journey from people who are masters at it.
I agree, 100%. Awesome. Well, I think you guys had a huge amount of nuggets just given to you today. So obviously, again, go follow Christopher John Stubbs on Facebook, ChristopherJStubbs.com.
ChristopherJohnStubbs.com.
mindbody90.com. You got the Goddess Warrior, the Goddess Revolution experience expanding and happening, which we're super stoked about, as well as the Mind Body Masterminds, and you can get the app. So there's plenty of places to start. Just start. Just take that action. So this is Marci Locke reminding you off of Marci Locke TV with my guest today, Christopher John Stubbs. The power of choice is yours. Choose your best life and
lock it down.
Lock it down. See you soon.